I'm only gonna say this once. Put the bunny back in the box. The unbearable weight of massive talent, or in other words, my autobiography, released in 2022 and is directed by Tom Gormican, who has also directed the movie That Awkward Moment. And this movie is starring Nicolas Cage as legitimately Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal, Sharon Horgan, Ike Barinholtz, Alessandra Mastronardi, Jacob Scipio, Neil Patrick Harris, and Tiffany Haddish. And the reason why we're talking about the unbearable weight of massive talent today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my longtime subscribers and contributors of this channel, Dr. Camp. Part of your bundle again. I had heard a lot about this movie, and I'm pretty sure I have watched the clip where they talk about how Paddington 2 is the greatest film ever made, which makes me feel good because Paddington 2 is a wonder. It is a marvelous movie, so I'm glad that there's that reference in here, just informing the world that Paddington 2 is pretty damn magnificent. So thank you very much for sending this recommendation over. If anyone else out there also wants to be like Dr. Camp and help contribute and support me on this channel, you can select the QR code that is on the bottom left corner of your screen right now and send over your donation. And if you have a movie recommendation, you can attach it with it. And if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out, just like what I did with Dr. Camp here. Nicolas Cage is obsessed with finding that next big role that he can star in. But one day, Cage's agent calls to inform him that he's dead broke and that he should accept the invitation to go to a birthday party to make an appearance and answer a whole bunch of questions. So Nicolas Cage flies out to Italy and meets the playboy Javi Gutierrez, who turns out to be a massive Nicolas Cage fan. However, Nicolas Cage is intercepted by the CIA, and they inform him that Javi is actually a local crime lord who is holding a little girl hostage. Now they charge Nicolas Cage with searching the house looking for the little girl to be the hero that he knows he can be. Now I have seen so many GIFs and so many clips of this movie, but I had no idea that this movie is actually about Nic Cage. This is Nicolas Cage starring as Nic Cage in this movie, and it's not a parody. He's actually himself in this movie. And yes, it is fictional, so he is heightened a little bit, but he's playing himself, which you'll hear the term meta like crazy whenever you get these breaking the fourth walls and little winks to the audience. But this film is the definition of meta. In real life, Nicolas Cage is broke a lot because he's divorced so many times, so he keeps taking on roles because, one, he just loves acting, or so he says, and two, he needs the paycheck so that he can pay all the alimony and pay off all of his debts. So here he is playing himself in a movie about said circumstances. This version of Nicolas Cage in this movie is in the same predicament. He is in debt, he has no money, he has an ex-wife, he has a little girl who is growing up, and he's neglecting her or not listening to her, trying to force her to like all the things that he likes and not necessarily listen to all the things that she wants to do. I had no idea that this movie was about Nic Cage starring Nic Cage. That is freaking awesome. I kept scratching my head this entire time, like my mind is blown. I want this to be a whole genre in itself. I want to see Liam Neeson play Liam Neeson in a movie. I want to see Keanu Reeves play Keanu Reeves in a movie, which I'm pretty sure he has done before. I want to see so many more action movies like this where the action star plays themselves in the movie. It's just so freaking cool to me. And Nic Cage, yeah, you don't even have to try in this movie. He's just himself. And himself is just so damn magnificent. It's amazing. Magnificent to the point of being ridiculous, but then so ridiculous that it reverts back to being magnificent. And I can't explain that phenomenon, it just happens. And Pedro Pascal is right there with him. He is lovely in this film. He plays around with the idea of him actually being the drug lord, but he also has this soft side where he's this huge Nicolas Cage fan. Takes him into his trophy room and it shows all the memorabilia from all of his major films. It makes it predictable that his character doesn't turn out to be the main bad guy, because I'm like, who could be a terrible person? Who can be a bad person and have memorabilia from Face Off and Con Air? Anyone who has memorabilia like that, it can't be a bad person. And I'm putting my foot down on that, which I'm probably going to eat later on if someone puts a comment in here saying like some weird dictator or tyrant in the world says, oh, they're a Nicolas Cage fan too. Are you supporting them? Stop being a self-fulfilling prophecy, Caleb. God! This movie is a ton of fun, and it has a whole bunch of callbacks to great moments from Nicolas Cage films where at the end of Face face off when he kills the other dude, and he yells, "Die!" Put the bunny back in the box, which is one of the best. And it even has a callback to Adaptation, where Nicolas Cage plays another version of himself. Never actually watched the film before, but I know what it's about. He plays two different sides of his psyche in the film. And the same thing happens in this movie. We have the Nicolas Cage, who is of the age that he is, but then there's also this rock and roll movie star, rock star version of Nicolas Cage, where he has the longer hair, kind of like from Raising Arizona, and he's like, "You're a fucking rock star!" This movie was so much fun. Does it get idiotic? Does it get stupid in points, or cliche, or the visual effects get terrible? Yeah, sure, at points in the movie. But that's the great thing about a Nic Cage film. You don't care about that stuff. You go into a Nic Cage film looking forward to the overacting, and they exploit that in this movie so much and so greatly in this movie. You can tell the writers are Nicolas Cage fans, and this is probably a fanboy script that they have had written for a while. This is my guess, this is not an actual happening, but my estimation is that they've had this just wonderful script written for so long, and it's the pandemic, studios are looking for ideas, so they go out and they pitch this one just for shits and giggles. And the studio says, yes, we'll give you the money to make it. It's amazing. It's freaking amazing. Now, if you're not a fan of Nicolas Cage, if you absolutely hate his acting, if you hate his performances, you don't get the appeal of him with being just so over the top and so melodramatic, then you're not going to like this movie, because that's all he is, and he's playing that up even more in this film. But if you're a massive Nicolas Cage film as I am, and whether you say that with a straight face or not, like what I'm doing, doesn't matter. This movie is great. I'm going to give The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent 4.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
It's good. It's good.
So guys, if you've seen The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, what did you think about it? And how about this? What is your ranking of all the Nicolas Cage films that you've seen? Whatever you thought, comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm released next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.